So let's start with everyone's burning questions. The first one that we've got is, does this order legalize marijuana federally? Unfortunately, no, it does not legalize it. Marijuana is still going to be federally illegal. Now, it will be the only illegal Schedule III substance on that list at least that I'm aware of. But again, just clarifying, it's just rescheduling. It doesn't mean that there's not immense impact, but it does not legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, or change any of those state laws. Now, Tim, I'll let you take this one. What do we actually care about? Does this impact 280E?
Absolutely. 280E will no longer apply, and businesses will be able to deduct their operating expenses, which they have not been able to do up to this point. It has been the best example of taxation without representation that I've seen in today's society and in today's tax code. So I'm really excited to level the playing field for especially these dispensaries that have not been able to deduct those operating expenses off of their tax returns.
Yeah, you say taxation without representation. I say straight up theft. We've seen these dispensaries where they're, net and zero or barely making any money and they owe tax. It's like, usually if you run a business, if you lose money, you don't owe any tax. That's the one benefit. Now, the other burning question is, when does this order take effect? At this point, it has not been rescheduled as of January 20th, 2026. We're just waiting on that rescheduling to be formalized. So it's been directed that we are going to do it imminently. We are just waiting patiently for imminently. Before that, it was in the talks, but nothing, it wasn't official that we are going to reschedule it. They were just looking into it, seeing what effects. They are rescheduling it. It's just a matter of when that process is formalized and finalized. Tim, the executive order talks about medical marijuana. Does this affect retail too?
Absolutely. That piggybacks on my last statement. This is huge for the marijuana industry and anybody that is involved with owning a business that sells or produces cannabis. And is probably the biggest impact that I've seen on any tax situation since I've been a professional.
Yeah. I think that's just a statement to how dramatic and horrible the situation was that this little change. But I really, I don't want to get too political on this. It is a little surprising that under a Republican administration, they are pushing out this change, mostly just because it hasn't been a big Republican talking point for years. I think that's why they talk about medical so much in that executive order, is they're the same thing, right? It's treating both medical and recreational, at least tax-wise and rescheduling it. It's all the same. It's just, when you call it medical marijuana, it's a little bit easier for the people that oppose it to digest, right?
Yep. And I really think that you're onto it, because all the articles that I see talk about the research that it's going to open up for marijuana and how we can use it medicinally. But I truly think that was the Trojan horse to allow the tax code to be updated so that these businesses can operate in a legal manner within the states that have voted to legalize marijuana.
Absolutely. Other one, can I amend prior year returns to reflect the rule changes? As of now, our stance is no. Obviously, if that changes, we will update everyone and be pushing that out because we want to amend those returns for you and help you out. But no, it does not allow retroactive changes. My opinion is that for 2025, it will be retroactively effective because they made the executive order in 2025, but there's been no clarification. It actually hasn't even been rescheduled as of this date of this conversation. And so really, once it's formalized, then we'll start answering those questions. If we don't get answers soon, I'm going to roll forward with the opinion that in 2025, it will be treated, but we're not going to be going and amending those years back where they have not said that's okay yet. And lastly, the unfortunate news, does this alleviate banking regulations? Unfortunately, it doesn't. I think it opens the door to the Safe Banking Act, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth later. But ultimately, it's just rescheduling it. It's still federally illegal, so that's where that legalization versus rescheduling does matter. They will need to do some form of legislation. It is kind of a non-starter that they wouldn't pass the Safe Banking Act as soon as this is formalized. They need to do something. Otherwise, again, we've been talking about that medical. If it's not able to be processed through a bank, how are people going to do this research, right? It's going to happen imminently.